Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, hello, everybody. Good afternoon. This is Nick Sarno from Merit Solutions. Welcome from snowy New York City here today. We've got a fun event planned for us today. Super excited as an organization to launch the first of a few of these webinar series coming up in the next couple of weeks and months ahead. So for the folks that don't know me, my name is Nick Sarno. I'm a director with our organization. And our agenda today is going to take us through a couple of different areas. Really, my main role in this event here today is to give us some overview, some content, and some material about our organization at a high level, supporting customers implement and utilize Microsoft Dynamics 365. It's really, for the next 10 or 15 or so minutes, I'm going to spend talking with you to set the stage for our actual deep dive demo with Chris Berg. In the agenda in front of us here today, you'll see we've got a couple of different areas to walk through. Josh, if you can advance to the next slide, please. Thank you. So to really set the stage for context and perspective, really wanted to reinforce a few points here with what we're working with here today. And as we're all familiar with, the world today around us is rapidly changing, probably faster than at any other point in history. And really the way we gauge this is the indicator of the fourth industrial revolution that is emerging, which is what we call the digital revolution. Really all of this driven by the rise of big data, the growth of the cloud, as well as a new era of intelligent capabilities utilizing mobile, IoT, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. So really, those technologies have the power to disrupt almost every industry, which is why we're super excited to be playing in this space here today. And really, the depth and breadth of changes resulting in the transformation of these systems can be felt across production, management, governance, etc. So really all this to say that at Microsoft and Merit Solutions, our ambition really as a company is to help democratize this fourth industrial revolution by providing organizations the building blocks to actually empower them to build, innovate, and ultimately transform. And so really that's setting the stage for us here today. And really, at the core of all of this is data. And so we view data as a key strategic asset, which combined with the cloud really has the potential to provide some really unique, intelligent capabilities to help these organizations grow. Josh, if you can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So really, at the forefront of this, what I wanted to spend a couple minutes walking through is, what is Dynamics 365 and why is it so relevant to this fourth industrial revolution that I've just shared about? So for folks that don't know, Dynamics 365 is a product line of enterprise resource planning, ERP, and customer relationship management, CRM applications announced by Microsoft in July of 2016. The product itself was generally released in November 1st, 2016 as part of the Microsoft Dynamics product suite. Roughly in terms of numbers, there are approximately to date about 5 million individual users of the software and approximately 40,000 customers globally utilizing Dynamics 365. And really across all major vertical industries, et cetera, there. And so what is Dynamics 365? So Dynamics 365 is really a business application platform for digital transformation that ultimately combines the tools that people are already familiar with, the familiar Microsoft tools that folks are familiar with. So whether you're familiar with Office 365, Power BI, Power Apps, etc., really those are all things that play a key part with the Dynamics 365 product suite. So really on the outside are the familiar applications that most users are familiar with. On the inside, in that wheel there, really those are the individual applications that are components of the broader Microsoft Dynamics 365 suite. So really what it allows organizations to do is pick and choose which particular application their organization wants to take advantage of and start utilizing here. And so really for the purposes of today, we're going to focus only actually on one of those applications, namely the finance and operations application. But the point being that really the application itself, Dynamics 365, allows organizations at their own pace to actually adopt different key workloads and different processes as their organizations grow and adopt. Josh, can you go to the next slide, please? Thanks. And so as I shared earlier, really today we're going to focus only on the Microsoft Dynamics 365 for finance and operations application. And so really wanted to draw a little bit deeper into it to give some context into the actual functionality and solution skill sets that are available within it. So really from the point of actually using the application, there's multiple ways users can actually use the software. So whether that's from their computers, from their laptops, from their phones, really from other services like Power BI, there's multiple ways to actually interface with the application. Then in terms of the actual business rules and capabilities, there's numerous actually functional areas within finance and operations, such as supply chain management, production, and finance itself that actually are folded under that broader umbrella. And then finally, at the core for all of that is really the power of the Microsoft Cloud. So the solution set is actually hosted on Microsoft's Azure network. It's software as a service based, and really you're getting the best capabilities with Microsoft Azure Stack at the core of this product. Josh, go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So to kind of wrap up my talking points here today, before I turn it over to Chris, just wanted to give some perspective of who Merit Solutions is and how we've had similar success in the marketplace before. So really Merit Solutions is a consulting services firm. We're focused 100% on Microsoft technologies. Our main industry focus and vertical area of expertise is working with manufacturers, but more specifically those that are FDA regulated, like med device companies, diagnostics providers, pharmaceutical companies, etc. In terms of our global footprint, we have customers on all continents to date, roughly 600 customers globally, which is very important to us. Additionally, in the center here of this slide, you'll see that an actual screenshot of our client satisfaction scores or ratings. And so really as a client-centric organization, very key to us is actually how our customers are rating us regularly. So each quarter we actually assess from our customers and ongoing projects how we're doing as an organization to meet their needs. And so you'll see why it's relevant, is we've really maintained high customer service levels throughout the last, in this particular case, 3 years, but even beyond that as well. And finally, I'll kind of plug one unique thing about us as well as the company. We actually were the first organization to actually implement the Microsoft Dynamics product on Azure. And so really our organization's been at the forefront of helping democratize that fourth industrial revolution or digital revolution, as I shared earlier today. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Berg for actually our deep dive demonstration. And then certainly throughout the day here today, if you have questions, please feel free to chime in via the chat function. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you, Nick. So today, on today's demo, we're going to be going over a demonstration of the navigation and user interface of Dynamics 365 for operations. I'm going to give you a quick navigation overview, go through the Microsoft ecosystem in more depth and how the Microsoft applications are actually embedded into the solution. Then we'll talk about workspaces and really how easy it is to personalize various forms and features within the application. And then we will move into the help and search functionality, showing you the power of being able to fully utilize the platform to its capabilities. I want to walk through some task guides because those are some new and exciting tools to Dynamics 365 and it really helps user adoption. Then we're going to open some forms in Excel and show you how that direct integration to Excel can work within the platform. And then we'll finish off by talking about Power BI, and if we have time, wrap it up with some natural query language. So with that being said, I am going to go over and launch the application right now. And what you're seeing is the landing spot, or essentially the home page of Microsoft Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Going back to our agenda, the navigation overview is one of the key pieces we're going to focus on today, simply because having a familiar interface is so important to a successful ERP project, not just from an implementation standpoint, but from a usability standpoint. And when we look at Dynamics 365 and compare it to other ERP platforms and systems, the learning curve is really much smaller. Microsoft has done a great job of ensuring that the user interface is all about the users, ensuring that there is easy adoption, taking advantage of the familiarity and similarities to other Microsoft products such as Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and all of those applications, because they know that they have a lot of business users or power users that are familiar with those, and enabling those users to move forward and evolve into the Dynamics 365 platform is that's a huge piece of their roadmap. So they're definitely going out of their way to make sure that all of their users can take advantage of that prior knowledge and that history that they have working with Microsoft products. So one of the first things to discuss is what I have highlighted here, and that's a URL bar. What does this mean? Well, in Dynamics 365, everything is completely web-based. Nick mentioned the hosting via Azure. So let's talk about that just a little bit and some of the advantages with everything being online in the cloud. With this being online, you can access Dynamics 365 from any device at any place with Wi-Fi, whether it's from a tablet or a phone in a restaurant, or if you're on an airplane with Wi-Fi. And productivity is really no longer limited to a dedicated machine or server. Also, one of the pieces to discuss here is the Microsoft support and flexibility with the cloud and Azure. I think a lot of people out there have a misunderstanding about owning their own code, or having their own servers. With this product and with the Azure services, you are still able to control your own instances, your own code base, and you still own your own data. So you still have all of that ownership. You're just utilizing the power of the Microsoft software. Additionally, the Dynamics 365 platform is now fully scalable with licenses, and they have what's called a subscription model, allows you to only pay for what you use and then ramp up or scale up with your business. So it's no longer a shotgun approach where you have to buy a huge bulk of user packages and licenses. You can gradually implement more and more functionality as time goes on through different phases and add key users during those phases. So essentially, as your business grows, the ERP grows with you. So now I'm going to go ahead and start diving into some of the navigation. I'll go ahead and choose our little icon over here on the left. And one of the things you'll see is we have the ability to tag all of our different favorite modules and workspaces into our favorites bar. We also have the ability to tag our recents, and really it gives you that browser-like approach. And it's really key to have this, especially ERP systems. People can think of them as being complex and having to fear them. Microsoft makes this easy to navigate through. You can tag favorites and the recents. We'll get into the workspaces and modules a little bit later, but wanted to just reiterate the fact that they really make it more like a browser approach. And while we're talking about that, with the Dynamics 365 for Operations platform being online, you can easily navigate back and forth with your browser. You can refresh screens. You can actually, save this homepage to a link or a tab within your browser. It really is its own web page, which is a great piece of functionality to have. Another thing to cover is from our home page, what you're seeing here is we obviously have a calendar, but we're also able to view work items assigned to me. So particular to my role, these are system generated alerts that either require my approval or tasks that I need to complete throughout the day. Moving in onto the Microsoft ecosystem. I talked about this before, about the direct embeddedness with the Microsoft products. I'm just going to go ahead and launch our bar up here over on the right-hand screen. And as you can see, we have a number of different options for applications that are part of the Microsoft ecosystem. But additionally to what you're seeing here, I can go ahead and choose all apps, and I can specify all of these different Microsoft apps and pin them to my Dynamics 365 solution. This includes the Microsoft Office 365 suite. We're looking at Excel, OneDrive, OneNote, Outlook, PowerPoint, Power BI. All of these different apps or applications are, like I mentioned, fully embedded into the solution. So it really is all of these solutions under one roof, which is a key advantage of this product in particular compared to others. Also, as we go ahead and scroll down here to get more apps, I did want to bring up the fact that Microsoft also uses a system called AppSource, which is very similar to the App Store and iTunes if you've ever used it before. Essentially, you get a whole robust number of apps that are either Microsoft built or third-party apps. And I did want to mention that if it is a third-party app, it goes through a rigorous approval process and these apps are fully supported by Microsoft. You're not just going to get some junk up on this AppSource website. This has to be fully vetted and qualified and approved through Microsoft, and it's actually a rigorous process to go through that. But while we're here, I'm just going to go ahead and specify or drill into some of these apps. I'll choose finance and operations, and I'll choose operations and supply chain. And furthermore, moving down, I'll choose healthcare and life sciences is one of the industries that we specialize in. Is, as you can see over here, we have our own Max Life solution through Merit Solutions posted on AppSource. It just gives you this great user interface and ability to go and see what is out there, what is approved by Microsoft on their AppSource storefront, and be able to, put you in touch directly with these vendors, or, if it's a Microsoft-based product, go ahead and download, install, and apply. So a lot of great features from AppSource. I did want to bring up the point that the Microsoft ecosystem is not only directly connected with these other Microsoft products, but the look, feel, and usability is consistent. What does that mean? Well, it's going to be easier to adopt the application and its features and take advantage of the tools that your users are already familiar with. So moving into personalization and usability. So Dynamics 365, as I mentioned before, does a great job of making the system flexible, easy to navigate, easy to use, but also easy to customize and personalize to each of your users. Obviously, in different industries or different companies, you're going to have different users with different roles that want to look at different forms, or they want to see forms in different ways. Some might want to see tiles, some might want to see list pages. So what Microsoft Dynamics has done, they have taken the traditional approach of workspaces, and I'll just show you what a workspace looks like. For example, I will go ahead and, excuse me, when I said workspaces, I meant module. They have taken the traditional module approach, and this is what we're looking at here, is a traditional module of all of these different forms that could be either a setup and config form, it could be a report form, it could be a list page form, all of this data, and they have chunked it out and they've put it into the form of these workspaces. What you're seeing here are these tiles from my home page. And the benefit of doing this is it allows you to pull all of those pertinent pieces of information required for day-to-day activities and work streams and put them in a single place. Now, I'm logged in as an admin access user right here, but I'm going to go ahead and open up a different browser window and go ahead and launch the homepage for finance and operations. In this example, I am logged in as a accounts receivable manager, and logged in as the accounts receivable manager, I only have access to various workspaces and modules that are pertinent to my role. And to take that a step further, I want to show you how easy it is to personalize some of these workspaces. So if I'm an accounts receivable manager, I can go ahead and launch my workspace. From the workspace, which I mentioned is new to the Dynamics 365 product, we have a number of different tiles on the left-hand pane. This is going to be consistent across all of the workspaces. Summary tiles. We're going to have transactions and list pages in the center, and then related information over on the right, whether that's navigating to a report or setup and config of various areas. But if I am posting cash and I'm an AR manager, one of the things I might want to see are customers that are past due. And if I don't have that tile already in my workspace, how would I go ahead and add that? Well, it's very easy. All I need to do is go ahead and go to the source within the module, find my customers past due, load that list page, and from that list page, I can add this particular list directly onto my workspace simply by choosing options, add to workspace. I will add it as a tile. I can type in the name of the tile, and I can even have the tile display account. I choose OK, and I will go ahead and close out of my customers past due form and go ahead and launch customer payments. And here we are, just as quick as as easy as a couple of clicks. I now have my customers past due tile directly embedded into my workspace. That's particular for my role. Another nice feature is the ability to take this data from my workspace and actually add it back to my homepage dashboard. So all I need to do, right click on the tile, choose personalize, pin to my dashboard, and click off the tile and close my workspace, refreshes our dashboard home screen. And sure enough, all of a sudden we have our customers past due in a tile format with our count right here on our home page. This is incredibly useful, especially for users that are going to be using these tiles with different counts. We like to say at Merit a lot as we're implementing the software that if you're a user and your number counts down to 0 at the end of the day, you can clock out and go home for the day. So a lot of great usability, particular to different users and different roles within your organization, from the summary tiles, the transactions list, the related information. There's a lot of great power here to ensure your users only have access to the various areas that they need. I'm going to, from our other environment, I'm going to go ahead and launch what the security looks like and what those roles look like within Microsoft Dynamics 365, just to give you an idea of what roles are available out of the box. As you can see, we have a number of different roles as I scroll down this page. So what does that mean? It means all you have to do is simply specify your users or assign your users to these various roles, and you are running out of the gates. Yes, it's very easy to modify the various capabilities of each of these roles, or you can add different capabilities for each user. But just from a starting point, these roles don't have to be built from scratch. They're already available. And from a quick ease of adoption starting point, it's great to take advantage of all of those current security roles right from the get-go. Now we're going to move on to the help and search features within the Dynamics 365 platform. It may seem really simple, but one of the key features for Dynamics 365 right now is having this search functionality. And this search functionality doesn't just trigger some help text in results. If I am a new user to the system and I need to generate a trial balance and I forget what module or I forget what workspace it's in, I can easily just go ahead and type in here trial balance, and the system is going to bring up all of the different results that are specific to that search text. So trial balance can be found in a number of different areas, but it's telling me right here that, okay, our top hit is going to be our trial balance form. I can just click into trial balance and it brings me right into my trial balance form. It's incredibly powerful. I've been using the Dynamics ERP software for over 8 years now, and I will tell you, it seems simple, but it's small things like this that really separate it from other ERP systems, being able to bounce around, navigate, and easily take advantage of the forms and the tools of the application. Another nice feature is the help piece, which if I am lost in the system and I don't know, or if I forget my task, it's very easy for me to utilize help text. within the within the application. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and launch Finance and Operations, and I'm going to show you what that help looks like. So all I have to do is choose Help and Support, and then choose Help, and type in my text. Let's say, for example, I am new to the application and I need to create and submit a purchase order. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and type in submit into my help text, and the system is going to look for various results of how can we find a particular task guide, or how can we find help text that's going to help me process this create and submit purchase order. I'll go ahead and choose create and submit purchase order. And when I do that, it's going to launch what is called a task guide. And the task guide, as you can see here, is a description of steps that tells me how to actually perform my role within the system. But guess what? It's way more than just a text or description of steps. The task guides are fully interactive. So I will go ahead, I'm going to hit Start Task Guide. And what it's going to do is it's actually going to walk me through performing this task interactively within the application. So it's telling me to click Purchase Order Preparation. I click Purchase Order Preparation, and it opens the Purchase Order Preparation workspace. It's now telling me to choose New Purchase Order. I click New Purchase Order, and a new PO is about to be generated. I have to specify my vendor in the vendor account field. I go ahead and do that, and when I am ready, the system tells me to click OK to generate purchase order. So from here, similar to before, all I need to do is walk through what this task guide is telling me. I can simply specify, in this case, the item. It's going to ask me to scroll right and tell me to specify a quantity of this item. And when I'm done with this, it's going to say, hey, go ahead and add a new line until you are finished. I'll just come in here and specify my second line of my purchase order, and I'll specify my quantity. And after I've done that, the system's going to tell me to go ahead and save. And when I'm done with that, it's going to ask me to submit to workflow. And while we're here, I did want to bring up as a sidebar, workflow is an incredibly powerful capability within Dynamics 365. It's an engine that tracks approvals and requests for approvals. We see a lot of this on purchase requisitions and purchase order approvals with our customers, but just to let you know, that workflow and a number of its capabilities are available out of the box. So I'm going to choose workflow and submit this purchase order. And after I submit the purchase order, the task guide is going to tell me to go ahead and close the page. And then when I'm finished, all is said and done. My purchase order has been submitted, which is incredibly powerful to be able to walk through that whole process from end to end. A lot of times in ERP systems, you're looking at 10, 15 steps for users to perform a role. To have these task guides available there in the event you forgot step 9 out of 15, or what do I do next? Where do I go? Having those task guides there are an incredibly great feature to have, not just from a standpoint of, I forgot how to do my job or how do I process this transaction, but it's great to have these task guides. You can document all of your standard operating procedures within the software. You can save them out to the Lifecycle Services library. And that's great in case you ever have employee turnover. You need to train new users, get them up to speed. Also saves paper from you having to come in and customize user documents. Another great piece of these task guides is that you have the ability to simply edit. If there's a 20-step task guide and you change a new process within your organization, all I have to do is edit the task guide, insert one step, and bam, I'm out the gates. I don't have to come back and completely redo all of my task guides. I did want to bring up the fact that within Merit Solutions, we actually have our own task guides as part of our Rapid 365 solution. And what's nice, as I mentioned, we can access all of these task guides directly from what's called LCS or Lifecycle Services. So I'll go ahead and choose this link, and I can access our full library straight through the task recorder within the D365 for Operations application. And as you can see, we have a whole number of different task guides for various work streams. If I open up financials or drill down into general ledger, these are all specific tasks that we have developed at Merit Solutions that follow industry best practices. that are included as part of our Rapid 365 methodology, and other projects we use these tools quite frequently as well. But to give you an idea of the task guides, just another nice piece, you can actually play back the recording of these task guides automatically. So I'll just come into vendor management and I'll choose put a vendor on hold, choose OK. And when I do that, I'll just go ahead and hit start. And what that's going to do is that's going to launch our task recorder. I can play one step at a time, or I can navigate to a particular pending step, or I can choose play all pending steps. I'll click this, leave my mouse in the same place. And what's going to happen is the system is actually going to run through this transaction without me clicking any icons or buttons. This is great for testing, regression testing. If you need to apply an update, you want to make sure all of your processes are still working. This task recorder is it's a game changer tool in the ERP space right now. So I'll just go ahead and stop the task recorder. And the next thing I wanted to bring up with everyone is the ability to work directly within Microsoft Office 365. I know I mentioned a direct integration to Excel before, so let's come back to that Microsoft ecosystem. I'm going to go ahead and open up my environment, and I'm going to navigate to a general journal and show you the processing power and that direct integration with Excel. I'll go ahead and find my general journal. It is an open journal right now. I'm going to choose the lines button, and it's going to show me the lines that I have in my journal. Well, from here, I have a number of features that I can use. I can, directly add lines to the journal in this form, but if I'm more familiar in Excel, or if I want to dump this out to Excel, I have the ability to open it in Microsoft Office. I also have this ability to add attachments to it if I have a scan, or if there's something I've received that I need to make sure I add to this journal, I can do this. And this is consistent across almost every form within Dynamics 365, the ability to add attachments. And then finally, being able to open this up in a new window. This is really nice, to be able to open up these different windows. Sorry, I had my pop-up blocker on there. But being able to work in multiple windows, if you have multiple monitors, it's really powerful. And again, you can do this on every single form within the application. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how easy it is to actually open this in Excel. So I'll choose open in, Let me close out of this form. I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick refresh real quick. And as you can see, it was simple refresh within the browser. I'll choose my lines. And then open in Excel, I choose open general journal line entry. I will just download it to Excel. Open in Excel, and I'm going to choose enable editing. And what's going to happen when I do that, there's going to be a Microsoft Dynamics Office add-in or a data connector that syncs Excel directly back to Dynamics 365. It's going to spend a second or two here retrieving the data from my particular journal, but then it's going to populate all of these forms in Excel to mirror exactly what we just saw in the application. Now, what's great about this integration, and I mentioned this before, was the ability to be able to make changes to our journal and then go ahead and publish that back up into the ERP. Just to keep things simple, I can go ahead and copy this line and add a new line to our Excel. I could also choose to add a new line here. And when I add a new line, I can specify a date. It's going to walk me through these fields, very similar to what I would see in the ERP. I specify my legal entity, specify my account type. All of these pieces mirror the D365 for Operations application. But when I'm done with my journal, all I need to do is hit publish. And as you could see previously, I had a single line journal entry within the application here. I'm just going to check the refresh button, and sure enough, our second journal line is now part of our journal. It is really that easy. It's a great piece to have, especially for those that are really familiar to utilizing Excel, regard to easy adoption. I know a lot of business power users spend a lot of time in Excel. So this just helps bridge that gap between the Microsoft power of Excel and the D365 for operations capabilities. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of our general journals. And I did want to showcase some of those new features that we talked about regarding Workspaces, and take that a step further and show you some of the Power BI in the included features that actually come standard in the Microsoft Dynamics 365 product. So the first thing I'm going to launch is what's called the CFO Overview Workspace. And as I launch the workspace, it's going to bring up a number of different dashboards within the workspace that are particular to either the company I'm in or the organization that I'm in. So it does include a number of different tabs here on the bottom. In this case, we're looking at CFO Workspace. So this is something that would primarily be used by a CFO or a finance VP, someone that wants to get an immediate snapshot of the health of their business, being able to look at either a current ratio or margin, cost of goods sold, just at a real high level. One thing to keep in mind too is these dashboards are real time. So that means that a number of these key metrics or these key dashboards that you are seeing, this is real-time data as it gets posted into the application. A lot of times you need to have a team of data analysts that go extract, different data from different modules and different forms and scrub and cleanse and slice and dice that data. And then, by the time they get done putting analysis behind that data is already stale. So it's really nice being able to have that real-time data and that power to log into these dashboards and get that immediate pulse and performance of your business. So I'll just click through a couple of these different tabs. One of them is the tabs I wanted to show is the Subledger Insights here. In this case, we're looking at top 10 products or by revenue and top 10 customers. These dashboards are fully interactive. So when I click on this high-end speaker here, it's actually going to show me out of my customers which ones purchased that speaker the most. I will click on it again to toggle off. And if I want to come down and take a look at my top 10 customers by revenue, if I choose Contoso Europe and click on Contoso Europe, up top, it's going to show me the top products that Contoso Europe, purchases. It's incredibly powerful to be able to click and navigate between these dashboards to get this view and in real time and consumable data in the format that it's in. It's incredibly powerful, but it's also really easy to use. I did want to show one of the new features that Dynamics 365 has added. They have actually pulled financial statements out of Management Reporter and pulled them into various dashboards. And when I say pull them out, they're still obviously available in Management Reporter, and there is a direct connection from Management Reporter to Dynamics 365 now. But on top of that, these financial statements are now part of various workspaces in these dashboards. And to take that a step further, I can actually drill into these financial statements directly from the dashboard. If I want to look at the columns of this particular 12-month trend income statement, I just go ahead and I choose columns, and I drill into columns, and it's going to break out all of my quarters by month of what I've just selected. And drilling into that transaction level, it's as easy as clicking a value or double clicking a value and diving in to that individual transaction. In this case, it has brought me to the voucher. I'll just go ahead and choose voucher transactions. And from here, I can choose original document. And from the original document, I just choose view details, and it's going to actually step me right back into that invoice journal. It's going to show me the sales order number, the items on this particular sales order, the quantities, the prices, the discounts, the margins, the contribution ratios, all there. So I have the ability to drill back all the way from my workspace that has a embedded Power BI dashboard with a financial statement into a specific voucher transaction and original document. It's incredibly powerful, but it's also user-friendly. And one of the things I did forget to mention, and I'll just come back to our financial overview, is the ability to apply filters to our different dashboards here. What we're looking at is a dashboard for one legal entity, for the USMF entity, but within Dynamics 365 for operations, we have the ability to have a whole number of different legal entities within the solution, and we can process consolidations, eliminations, intercompany trade. And the great part about that is that I can now get visibility into all my organizations in one place. For example, if I choose organization USMF, but I also select organization DEMF, I'll go ahead and let the system to respond. And what it's going to do is it's actually going to pull in the same information for data as it does, the same information as USMF. And it's going to let me see side by side. And so that power of having multiple legal entities or multiple operating units within your organization, being able to slice and dice on these dashboards to get real-time analysis and view the performance of each of these pieces, it's to be honest, it is a game changer in the ERP space, not just because of how powerful it is, but because of how simple it is to come in here and specify these pieces. Imagine being able to showcase this to a CFO or an owner of a company, being able to get this data on the fly. To conclude the presentation, I did want to bring up some of the natural query language that we have in the Power BI application itself. This is a Power BI app. This one is not embedded into the Dynamics 365 solution. However, there is some great functionality that is included with the Power BI application, and that's called natural query language. Before I jump into that, I just wanted to dive in some of the dashboards here. It's very similar to what we saw within the application, being able to look at, in this case, we're looking at a supplier quality analysis dashboard. I'm trying to track or manage the quality of different components of different suppliers that I have. It points out outliers that I might have or areas that I need to adjust or make quick decisions on. But in terms of that decision making, where the natural query language really has a lot of power is the ability to use what's called ask a question about your data. What this means is I can actually come into my Power BI app and I can explore and I can drill into my data on an ad hoc basis. So in this case, if I just wanted to look at my total defect quantity, I can go ahead and type that in. And by doing that, the system is going to recognize what my search text is, and it's going to tell me what is my total defect quantity. But the nice part about this is I can continue to add to my search text if I wanted to look at total defect quantity by category. And sure enough, the system adjusts and it breaks out all of my defect quantity by category. I could look at my total defect quantity by category in pie format. Or I could look at my total defect quantity by category, let's say by material type. And now as I drill into this, I start figuring out, okay, I have some outliers here. I have some key decision points or key decisions that I need to make based on these KPIs. And it's incredibly powerful to be able to come in here on an ad hoc basis. Now, keep in mind, what I've been typing in here is not defined. It's not a report that I come in here and generate every single day and I run in the background. I can just free-form text and click into all of my results, and I can drill into all of these pieces. So that was going to conclude my call today. I know we went through a lot of information, and from an overall standpoint, hopefully everyone got a great feel for the user interface, navigation, some of the tools such as the searching, the help text, the task guides, the Microsoft apps, and the direct embedded application with the Microsoft platform, and all of the new workspaces and features and functionalities that are included with the product. I did want to mention, we did look at that CFO overview. A key added point here as well is that all of these pieces, they come included pre-built into the software. So what does that mean? That means that when you purchase the software, all you need to do is perform transactions and these dashboards will come alive for you. Yes, they can be configured. They can be custom spec to meet your needs. Most of that can be done on the front end and won't need a developer for it. So it's easy to use, like I mentioned before, but having the ability to, from a early adoption standpoint, to just get my transactions into the system and start having these charts and graphs start populate for me is incredibly beneficial. And from a implementation and deployment standpoint, really is a major time saver rather than having a developer come in here and custom spec all of these different dashboards for me. Another piece I did want to mention as well, a lot of these workspaces and embedded dashboards of Power BI, they keep getting enhanced by Microsoft. Just in the last 3 months, this CSO Workspace has seen a number of improvements. One of them was including these financial statements as part of the dashboards. So, between that and a number of other new content packs, it's, the feature set just keeps growing and growing. It's very powerful. And, it was funny, I was talking with a coworker the other day, and he asked if how would I like to add more horsepower to my car with just a quick system enhancement, knowing that it was at no cost. I mean, it's truly a no-brainer there. So, that would conclude my demonstration on the navigation and overview section for today's demo. I did want to leave some time for any questions. If anyone has anything they want to bring up based on what they've seen, based on what I've walked through today, was hoping either get feedback or see if there was a question that I could address. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to the group, and we will progress with any questions.
Thanks, Chris. I am not seeing, it looks like we have our first question coming in. Give me 1 second to pull it out. Again, you can use your right-hand Q&A section if you want to ask any questions. I don't know, this one comes from Rohit. It says, may we see audit trail logging in action? I don't know if that's something you can do right now, or Rohit, if that's something we can take offline. Chris, is that something you can show right now?
You know what, I could, but it could be a long discussion, not because it's difficult to navigate to, but it actually is pretty easy. Like I said, with this search bar, I get a number of different areas to go ahead and search on my audit trail. I can dive into each of these voucher transactions for this particular audit trail. So from a simple standpoint, yes, audit trail is right there, front and center.
That is the only question we have so far. We'll give it a couple more seconds here. Nick or Chris, any final comments as we wait?
Yeah, Josh, this is Nick. The one question I'd bring up here, or comment rather, for the group is in customer conversations I've had recently, what's the integration between Dynamics CRM, or what they call sales, and the ERP, which is what Chris has just showed here today. And really the integration is seamless. So really these two solutions are integrated together as one common application using the common data service platform as the two connector between them. So just wanted to make sure that was clear, that the sales front end component is integrated to the system as well, the back end.
Great. Well, I'm not seeing any more questions come through. We did record this session. I will follow up afterwards and send this out to everyone. If you have any questions at that time, please don't hesitate to reach out and I can direct you to the appropriate person. Thanks everyone for your time. Thanks Nick, thanks Chris, and everyone have a great afternoon. Bye.